Agents of SHIELD ended in 2020, and since then, myself and the rest of the fanbase have been desperate to see pivotal characters appear in the MCU. AOS is one of the most ambitious and fun TV shows to come out of Marvel, but despite the show's close ties to the early MCU, the series appears to have largely been snubbed by Marvel Studios. But this is a real shame considering how incredible and talented the cast were and the potential that they have to interact with the MCU's sacred timeline. The show began with Agent Phil Coulson, a character who first appeared in the premiere MCU movie, Iron Man, in a small but key role. After that, Coulson showed up in other projects, until his final MCU performance in terms of the timeline when he was killed by Loki in the Avengers. The following year, Coulson led his own secret team of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents in AOS, and the show enjoyed spectacular success for 7 seasons. Despite more connections during the show's run, with events from the MCU directly impacting the series and Nick Fury and Maria Hill cameoing on the show, the movies never acknowledged their link. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actors' MCU return comments explained. Chloe Bennet still has a connection to Daisy Johnson. But more recently, the actress behind Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, Chloe Bennet spoke out about her potential future in the MCU. Specifically, the comments were framed around the significant rumors which suggested Bennet would appear in the MCU in Phase 4 in order to reprise her character from AOS. While this never happened, the strength of the fanbase led Bennet to consult with her agent in order to know if she had in fact been cast, and even getting a call from co-star Clark Gregg to find out why she didn't tell him. Clearly, there was a high demand for Bennet's Quake to return in the MCU, and Bennet knows it. She also highlighted that by connecting her character to the larger MCU, it would open up certain storytelling opportunities. While this is certainly the most simplified view of events, I have to wholeheartedly agree that Quake should get an opportunity to join the MCU, and I don't think there has ever been a better time to do it. By connecting these worlds inside the multiverse, there is a strong chance that bringing Daisy Johnson to the MCU could be a great move for the future. Why the MCU needs to bring back Daisy Johnson? The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. star needs to come to the MCU. While I would love to see several of the characters from AOS return to their roles inside the MCU, I'd be more than happy if they could at least include Daisy Johnson. Her character's arc throughout the show is spectacular, and while she began her journey as a strong and intelligent lead who quickly adapted to life as a super spy, when she eventually unlocked inhuman abilities, it opened up a lot of avenues for the character's hero story to develop into. And despite having 7 seasons on the small screen, I think the character deserves to shine in the MCU. Yes, there are hurdles to overcome, with her close relationship with Coulson after he supposedly died, possibly raising flags for the original Avengers, but there are not many of those left. There is also a complication with the show's use of the Darkhold, which conflicts with Scarlet Witch's MCU story, and even a time travel narrative, but realistically, the MCU has already solved all of these issues with the multiverse saga. Daisy Johnson does not need to be from the sacred timeline, instead, like Deadpool, she could be transferred into the MCU. Daisy Johnson should be the MCU's Maria Hill replacement. Nick Fury needs a new right hand in the MCU. Daisy has a lot of potential for ways to integrate into the primary MCU. Considering her career as a high-ranking member of S.H.I.E.L.D., and her time working with Coulson independently after the organization fell apart, she has espionage expertise. She is also a talented hacker, and thanks to her inhuman powers, she has become a powerful ally that can compete with superpowered threats and aliens. All of this adds up to Daisy being a perfect replacement for Maria Hill, who was killed in Secret Invasion. This would put her right next to Nick Fury, and in the center of things ahead of Avengers, Secret Wars. Nick Fury has long been an instrumental part of the Avengers initiative. He first pushed for the initiative to recruit potential heroes after meeting Captain Marvel, and when he was running S.H.I.E.L.D., he and his right-hand woman, Maria Hill, effectively got the operation off the ground. Maria Hill was an invaluable asset for Fury, and one that kept him grounded and safe in every eventuality. Daisy Johnson's unique skill set could actually make her even more qualified to fill this position after the tragic death of Agent Hill. Daisy Johnson could appear in the MCU's Young Avengers project. The Young Avengers need a mentor. For Hill, her initial role working in S.H.I.E.L.D. saw her work closely with Fury, and she was rarely seen without Director Fury nearby. However, as the Avengers initiative took off, and Hill became more experienced, she took on a more independent role where she would actively lead missions, assist other agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., as seen in AOS, and act as a point of contact and guidance for the Avengers. This sort of career progression could mimic Daisy's journey in the MCU, if she were to go from being a high-ranking agent who works next to Fury, to becoming a liaison for superhero teams. This would make a lot of sense in the context of the Young Avengers. Where Coulson, Fury and Hill were instrumental in putting the Avengers team together, Johnson could become the main contact who sets up and establishes the Young Avengers. Daisy has experience as a superhero and an agent, and she worked closely with dozens of powered people who were learning to harness their gifts. Daisy is incredibly well suited to helping train and guide young heroes, just like Ms. Marvel, Kate Bishop, and others to become the best heroes they can possibly be. However, to make any of that happen, Daisy Johnson needs to officially be transferred from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. universe to the MCU.